1, 2,
3,
4, 5.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ashley Hill, and today this is my persuasive speech. I would like to thank all you for being a part of my audience today. Today, the topic that I'm going to be persuading you on is, should high school sports be allowed during this pandemic? High school sports does not just give you the benefit of exercise, but according to all my resources, playing a sport in high school has a long-lasting effect on your life. Today, I'm going to be presenting you with 4 main points backed up by evidence today. The first one tells that the most important takeaways of playing a sport would be, number 1, you always have a stronger confidence when it comes to making relationships with others. This goes beyond high school and sports. This can go into your college life and also into your careers, such as building relationships with your coworkers, bosses, or even management above you, or your customers or patients, depending on the career that you go into. Number 2, the development of better understanding of how your actions affect not just yourself, but others. This goes way beyond sports and high school as well. This can go into your family relationships, your friendships, and the same thing into your careers and your relationships with the people that you work with and the people that you are serving within your careers. This development and this fundamental foundation of having that knowing of your actions and how they affect others is a very key characteristic to how you grow up and how you present yourself to others. Number 3, building a strong foundation for a lifelong fitness habit. This is not only important to have a fitness habit for physical fitness, but mental fitness as well. Physical activity has shown to prove a decrease in stress and anxiety, depression, and even ADHD. We see how being active can improve your overall well-being and even help you sleep better. It gives you a better memory and attention span. Being physically active can improve your self-esteem, give you more energy, give you better resilience, and overall help you with your mental health. Being physically active does not just benefit you physically, but it also benefits you mentally, which in some cases can be more important. For high school students, and this is important for many who struggle with stress and anxiety, because that can also lead to suicidal thoughts. So in my opinion, if we can make physical activity more of a priority, and that decreases the thoughts of stress and anxiety, I think that sports should be able to be played in the most stressful time of this pandemic. These are all backed up by the websites of www.nfhs.org and www.helpguide.org. Number 2, the public school review study show that when a high school student is involved in a sport, their academics also seem to improve. This is because when you play a sport, you're determined and you get a drive. Also, because when you play a sport, you have to have good grades to play it. So you're encouraged to do better academically, but when that sport is taken away, you don't have that drive and encouragement anymore. Not only this, but a foundation of good leadership and teamwork skills for future jobs and career paths, as well as a good social skill and social relationships. These are all very fundamental and key characteristics into athletics and playing a sport in high school. This can help with so many aspects within your future job and your future careers, whether it's leadership, leading a project within your work, or leadership within becoming management within your careers, or actually running your own business one day and having those social interactions and social skills with the customers, the patients, or the people around you. That was all backed up by www.publicschoolreview.com. Number 3, the University of Maryland Medical Center shows how the pandemic has affected high school students and athletes and how they have learned to adapt. Now that I presented you with how the sport by itself can affect an athlete in their life, I want to also present you with how the pandemic has affected the athlete and how they have had to learn and adapt throughout this whole pandemic. For high school students, sports are found as an outlet for stress or anxiety and depression in today's generation. Another thing that you need to take under consideration is how far some students go for a scholarship to college. And now that that's been taken away, some people don't have that same opportunity for a higher education because that's what they were riding on to go to college. And we see how students have had to learn to adapt to that different environment and how they've lost those social skills and they've lost those leadership skills and that team building skills, which will only affect them further into the future negatively. This was all backed up by the www.umms.org. Number 4, UT News tells us that during the pandemic is when we need sports the most. It will bring us together as a community instead of driving us apart, which during the pandemic, this is when we need our community the most. High school sports brings pride to our community. It gives us something to look forward to within a community and within a nation. During this pandemic, we see negative things all around us. We see people getting infected and people hurting, which when we have a high school sport, that gives us something to look forward to the next day, something to cheer on our friends and family around us, something that we can say, yes, we take pride in this because we are a part of this community. Also, because of the cancellations of sports, we see how many students have started to lose the importance of academics importance within the school, which has shown a decrease in grades and motivation within schools itself. And lastly, that was supported by the news.utexas.edu. So my conclusion today is high school sports affect us in more than one way. We see how they affect us. We see how they affect our attitudes, the way that we have social interactions with others, how they'll go to infect us within our future careers, our jobs, and how they affect us now, and how we've had to adapt. So yes, high school sports do affect us more than one way. They affect us physically, mentally, and they affect us long term. They help us develop many skills and fundamental foundations for our lives that we need to develop now as a young age. So this is why I believe that high school sports should be allowed during this pandemic. I want to thank you all for joining me today, and I hope that this really persuaded you to consider all my topics and to go and look up these resources and get your own opinion on what you think today. Thank you all for joining me, and before we leave, I would like to count off one more time.
1, 2,
3,
4, 5,